Isaiah, we're on a
Yo, what up? Welcome to Moboxing No Problem. I'm Jose Maria Jr. and I'm joined by my co-host Seek. And we are honored to have three guests tonight with us. We got a amateur boxer, soon-to-be pro boxer, Joseph Brown. We got his father, Martin Brown. And we got a renowned boxing trainer, Jeff Mayweather. How's it going, fellas?
awesome.
Good.
Thanks for having us again.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for making the time. So first question we got is for Joseph. Can you tell us at what age you started boxing and what got you into boxing?
Well, actually, my dad started throwing punches at me and teaching me a little stuff when I was like 3 years old. So I've been boxing almost my whole life. But I'd say I started like in a gym and really taking it serious around like 6 or 7. And again, that my dad started me out, man.
Nice. And Martin, did you do some boxing yourself?
My background is martial arts. I practiced several styles of martial arts, Taekwondo. I did, however, in my 20s get into kickboxing, and I've always been a boxing fan. I'm a Bruce Lee fanatic, so I try to pattern myself after Bruce Lee, and I know Bruce Lee started boxing in his late teenage years, early 20s, so I just kind of followed suit and just fell in love with boxing, man.
And there you go. We got a comment here from Kenneth Steele, says hello, just checking in. Hello, you, Kenneth. And then Jeff, how did you get into boxing? I know you had a very great career yourself. What got you into it?
To be honest, I never cared about boxing. I ended up in boxing because of the love of my brother Roger.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him was inseparable. We was only like three years apart in age, and so it was kind of like one of those things where the younger brother wants to hang out with the older brother. So I followed him and I followed him everywhere until I ended up here. And I ended up here because after I graduated from college, he's the first person to call me, and I was walking off the stage, and he said, "Are you coming to Vegas?" And I said, "Yeah, it'd be nice." But I didn't know that when I was coming to Vegas that I was going to be stuck in Vegas for a lifetime. Because basically, when I landed, first he introduced me to a manager, and then he took me to the place I was going to be living. And then he gave me a car. And so that's how I blindsidedly got into boxing.
Jeff, when did you realize you wanted to be a trainer after you got done with your fighting days?
Well, I mean, boxing for me was, I worked extremely hard. To achieve in boxing, you have to work hard, but boxing never really, touched my heart. I think if it did, I probably would have did much better. But being a coach, it was a perfect fit for me because I felt like my very first fighter that I ever had, I took him to a world title. And so once I took him to a world title, I knew that I belonged here because, it's hard to take someone to a world title, especially a guy that has no following, no namesake, no name value, no anything. But I got him to the number one slot in the rankings, and he fought for a world title. We didn't win, but to me that was like kind of like the ultimate high. Was like, wow. I guess I can do this boxing thing. Yeah. And like I said, after a while, it became a part of me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we're talking shots not easy. That's an impressive feat. And, as you mentioned, Jeff, it takes hard work, to make it in boxing. And Joseph, you've been putting in that hard work. I want to talk about your amateur career. I believe your record 67-0. Yeah. Which that speaks for itself. But can you tell us about your amateur career and some of your major accomplishments?
Yeah, my amateur career has been it was great. I think my first competition when I was 8 years old. I competed in a Taekwondo tournament, and it was actually a provincial tournament, which is like a state tournament in America. And I didn't know that going in, but that was my first competition, which ended up I won gold, and after that, I kind of thought to myself, I love this feeling. This is what I really want to do. So it was only up from there. Then I think at 10 years old, I fought in my first national championship and won. Um, and I won. I think I've won 6 national tournaments in my amateur career, and I ended up winning world championships for Muay Thai last year. So yeah, all my fights in total I got up to 67. So I think I'm very proud of my amateur career. I think it was great. I don't think a lot of people. I don't think there's been anyone like me who's been undefeated in like all the different combat sports going into professional boxing. So I'm pretty sure I'm the first one to do that.
I think you are. I haven't heard of that either, so I think you definitely are. And something that's also kind of really unheard of is the second fastest KO in amateur boxing history. Yeah. I mean, we know it ain't easy getting KOs with the headgear on, but can you tell us about that knockout?
Yeah, that was actually my first boxing match. It was the day after I turned 11. I just remember throwing a double jab and I stepped back a little bit, and then my opponent came in and I threw a check hook. And that's what wobbled him. And then after that, I kind of smelled blood, so I went at him until the ref just waved it off.
You knew right off the bat, let me just this is a knockout. Let me just go for it.
Yeah. That killer instinct was already in me.
That's good, man. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Really crazy.
Well, he sparred 250 rounds the last month before that.
Wow.
Fight.
Oh my God.
The 4 weeks leading up to that, we're putting over 50 rounds a week. So he put in 250 rounds. I know the last 4 weeks before that fight. It was his first boxing match. I wanted to make sure he was more than ready. So, he lit that dude up that night.
He definitely showed it.
Yeah.
And then Joseph, how did you end up linking with Jeff Mayweather and start training with him?
Actually, my dad probably could tell you that they became friends first.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I had a dream when Joseph was 10 years old that Jeff Mayweather would be his coach. And I just woke up like, oh man, it's probably just had one of these fantasy dreams. I wish that would happen one day, but I felt something real deep, like maybe God gave me something. It just the way it felt. And Floyd was my favorite boxer. I was in love with the Mayweather system. And I told my wife, I said, man, it's crazy, but I had this dream that Jeff Mayweather was training Joseph, and it was so real. It was like it was just real, like it actually happened. And 3 years later, I reached out to Jeff via Facebook or something like that, and we hit it off from day one. We just became very, very good friends. I told him all about Joseph. I sent him a lot of his accomplishments up to that point, videos, and Jeff liked him right away. Just like, man, before we even met, before we even really got to know each other well, Jeff agreed off the rip. Man, I like this kid. I asked him, would you train him? He says, yeah, I definitely would train him. So I sent Joseph down to Vegas a year later when he was, I don't know, Jeff, was he still 13 or was he 14 at that point?
I think he was 14.
He could have been 14 when they actually met in person. But I would send Jeff videos of Joseph sparring, different things. And Jeff would call me right back. He'd critique it. He'd say, hey, try this, do that. What you're doing is good, but maybe have him do this. And so he was already working with Joseph from the get-go. And it's been a blessing ever since, man. Really. Right. Jeff's an amazing guy. Never charged me anything, never asked for anything. Whenever obviously I'm going to bless him for doing it, but he's never been that kind of guy. He's a good man. His head's not in the clouds like a lot of celebrity coaches and celebrities and stuff. Just was a down-to-earth guy. We didn't have much, and that didn't seem to bother him. He was more about the talent that Joseph had and the connection we had, and it's been working good since then. Just pointed him for 2 national championships, which he won with no problem down there in Vegas. So far, so good.
Yeah, it's been a perfect fit. And Jeff, what do you see in Joseph that excites you and makes you want to train him?
Well, the one thing as a trainer, sometimes you need a fighter to keep your fire lit. and Joseph is a very, very talented young kid that, the things that I seen in my nephew, I see in Joseph, and I see Joseph winning multiple world titles at different weight classes in boxing, and basically it motivates me when I train him, because basically I already can see the future as to where we're going, and I've seen that with other fighters that I've had as far as well, and so basically, is more gratifying to me to help someone else and me be a part of their journey to reach their goal, and that's it for me. Basically, if I've helped Joseph to fulfill, the prophecy of what his dad has said, and what I think, I mean, I'm satisfied. I mean, I don't have to do anything else. I mean, I'm satisfied. And so basically that's it. And I look forward to working with Joseph. And when you have a fighter that actually knows how to fight, is very talented, it motivates you, and it excites you and make you work harder.
Absolutely, that's a huge compliment. And the next step for you, Joseph, is making your pro debut. I know you announced on your social media that's coming this year. So can you share with us, when and where that's going to happen?
I'm trying to have my pro debut in November, after I turn 17, because I turned 17 in October. So I think probably it's gonna end up being in Colombia. So I think my first few fights probably gonna be in like Colombia or Mexico.
Right, probably because of the age.
Yeah, because of the age.
That makes sense. And then thinking about the future, do you have a dream opponent in mind that you want to share the ring with one day?
My dream opponent, I mean, it depends on the weight class I end up at. I'm not even sure. I know, like, starting out, I'm probably going to be at 154, but later on, I probably just going to go up to 160. So, I mean, guys at 160, I'm trying to think, like in 2 years' time, once I get there, who's still going to actually be at that top level?
Sure.
Who's at 160 right now? Charlo's there. I think he's
Charlo, yeah, 160.
Charlo, Adames, was it just?
Yeah, Lara. I love to eventually match up with all those guys one day.
That'd be great names. And then, Joseph, do you have a dream venue you want to headline one day?
A dream venue is actually my dream venue that I want to headline in is big football stadium.
Nice. Fill it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. And this next question is for all you guys. Who was your favorite boxer growing up?
I have a few. Growing up, it's always been Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, Roy Jones, and probably Sugar Ray Leonard. Those are my favorites that I've been growing up watching and still to this day.
What about you, Martin?
Of course, I'm old school, so I got to roll with Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard. Those were like my heroes in boxing, and I kind of formulated my style off of those guys, and kind of handed that down to Joseph in a way where he could use that same similar style of ring IQ and movement and great, phenomenal defense, and apply that to Taekwondo, to kickboxing, and Muay Thai. So, I would say most definitely Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, and my number one pick most definitely would be the great Jeff Mayweather, of course.
Of course.
Right.
And then, what about you, Jeff? Who were some of the boxers you like growing up?
Well, of course, I was like everyone else. I love Muhammad Ali. I love Sugar Ray Leonard. And this is one probably a lot of people, if you're in boxing, you know him, but a lot of people probably won't know him, and that's Michael Nunn.
Yeah.
He was also one of my favorite fighters. and we became really good friends. And of course, my nephew.
Of course. Got to put him up there.
Don't count 'em in.
All right, and then for this next section, I want to kind of go over some, either confirmed or rumor fights, and get your predictions for who you think would win. If it's too close to call, or you can always just say 50-50 or pass. But the first one I want to talk about is Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. Who's going to win that one?
You talking to me?
All three. I want to hear from all you.
I got Crawford by a little bit. I think he has a little bit more tools in his bag than Spence does.
All right, what about you, Martin?
Man, I'm kind of biased because we're Jamaican, so I'm sorry. I got to roll with Errol on this one, man. I mean, I want him to win, but Bud is no joke, so I see this as a 50-50 fight.
All right, Jeff, you're the tiebreaker.
Well, I'm absolutely not the tiebreaker because I see it the exact same way. And I know both guys very well. And one thing about boxing, I mean, these days, don't get me wrong, I have an opinion, but sometimes when you have an opinion, you lose friendships. So I'm just gonna say I just want the best guy to win. Whoever the better fighter that night should win.
I hear you, Jeff. Sometimes when you just gotta pass, you're like, no comment. All right, next one I want to ask you guys about. This one is rumored, but it's pretty much been almost confirmed. But before we get to actually, let me read Kenneth's comment here because it relates to the Crawford Spence questions. It says, I do believe that Crawford will make him retire after this fight. Okay. All right. That's
a big one.
A big statement. Next one I want your opinion on is Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo. Hey, how you guys see that one playing out?
I think it should be a good fight. I think it's going to be very hard for Charlo because I don't think he's fought in like 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
He's moving up to a new weight class, so it's not gonna be easy for him. But I think it should be a good matchup. If I had to choose, I'd say Canelo just because of those factors. But I think it should be pretty good.
What are you, Martin?
Another fight, or you're not sure how it's gonna go? I can't say I was really impressed with Canelo's last couple fights. I don't know if all the years is catching up to him, or maybe he wasn't motivated enough. I'm not sure. And I mean, Charlo's not a spring chicken either, right? But he might have the fresher legs and body from the rest. So it's gonna be a war. I know that much. Neither guy likes to back down. I think Canelo's gonna take the role of boxer at some point. And I mean, like, he should be able to pull it off, but that's another 50-50 fight.
All right, what about you, Jeff?
Well, I think that some of the old Canelo has to show up on that fight. If he doesn't, it's going to be a very, very tough fight for him. Mm-hmm. But if the Canelo of old that, with the slickness and not getting hit and working the body and things like that, I would think that would be an easy win. But I don't say that. I won't say that right now because just like like Martin said, I mean, I've seen a decline in Canelo as well. So, and it doesn't seem like he should be declining. I mean, he has been fighting a long time. I mean, he started very young.
All right.
But it's just that he's still in his 30s.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it seemed like but I mean, I guess fighting is fighting. So, I mean, maybe the wear and tear, the wear and tear on his body is just starting to show up. But I mean, I would lean slightly toward Canelo.
All right, we got Kenneth chiming in saying that Canelo will win and then he'll have to face Crawford. Well, we got Crawford Spence too right after that, so we'll see what happens. And then the last fight I want to ask you guys about would be Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. How do you guys see that playing out if it happens?
That's gonna be a really close match. They're both really good skilled boxers. I'm gonna slightly favor Shakur in that one. because I mean, I've always liked Shakur a little bit more, so I'm gonna favor him. But that's pretty 50-50. It's gonna be really
Yeah. I'm rolling with Shakur on that one. Right now, Shakur has the best defense in boxing.
Hmm.
Gets hit an average of 4 times per round. So the thing is, will Devin Haney be able to find him with that good jab and whatever it is that he does? I don't think he will. I give Shakur a slight edge in this fight. And I think Jeff and I talked about this before. Probably the only one that I see out there beating Shakur right now would be Tank. And that's because of Tank's experience and hitting power. Tank's not just a hard hitter. The man can box. Like, if you watch Tank, he's very intelligent in there. I think eventually Shakur will be ready for a Tank. Not yet, but I think he's ready for Haney right now or anybody else.
All right. And what do you think, Jeff?
Well, it's funny that I'm being asked this question because basically, I remember I spoke about Devin fighting Cambosis, and basically, I used to train Devin. I used to train Devin a long time ago, and I never thought that Devin was going to lose to Cambosis, but I thought that in a situation that Cambosis would do enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny, and basically we got into a little heated argument, and basically, Devin said that basically you helped me become what I am, and that you should be in support of me, and basically, and I mean, I am, but I think I still can say what I want to say.
You should.
But I don't know. That's another one of those fights that just both guys are very crafty. I saw them spar a long time ago, and I think it was give and take a lot. So I don't know. I just best man win again.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
But hold up just 1 second. I'm coming back, but I gotta go somewhere for 1 second.
All right, no
I'll
worries.
be right back.
No worries.
Perfect. No worries. All right. Well, while we wait for Jeff to come back, and the next question I want to ask you guys is, what do you like to do outside of boxing? What are your interests and hobbies?
I like parkour a lot. I like doing a whole bunch of like backflips and all that. I try not to do it because I know getting an injury from that can mess up what I'm doing in my boxing. But I love doing that. I like playing video games whenever I have the time to.
What games do you like to play?
I like Call of Duty. I usually play Warzone, and I play Fortnite sometimes. Every once in a while.
Yeah, Fortnite has been popular for years, man.
Nice. And what's your system of choice, Joseph? PS5, Xbox?
I use PS4.
PS4. All right. Martin, you gotta hook him with the PS5.
Man, I used to be back in the day. We had arcades, and all the kids used to go to the arcades and hang out and play. But I'm older now, so I kind of grew out of the video game phase. He wrote in on what Joseph's got going on right now. That's like my life purpose at this point in time. Besides raising my other kids, of course, like my full-time job is getting him ready. And Joseph's been in there with the best of the best last month and a half ago. He's down there in Philly, and he was sparring Boots, Jerron Ennis.
Oh.
And they brought a couple guys in, one guy from New York, another one from New Jersey, and the coach down there was telling me, like, Boots stopped the first sparring part, like the first round, the next guy in a couple rounds, and Joseph got in there with him and did all the rounds with him with no problem. And just finished sparring Chris Eubanks. And Jeff might be able to tell you more about that. He was there with him when he sparred Chris Eubanks. But from what Jeff told me, Joseph was handling his business with Chris Eubanks, and from what I know, he handled his business with Boots. So we got him in there right now, 16 years old, holding his own with some of the best champions out there. We got Chan Thompson. Chan is WBC, WBA, and he's got another interim belt here in Canada, and that's Joseph's main sparring partner. He's been working with Joseph the last couple of years, really helping him build up. and become the fighter he is today. So
And Chris Eubanks, big guy, is fighting at 168. So the fact you held your own and went the all the rounds with him, Joseph, that's very good, man. Wait for Jeff to get it settled.
Yeah.
I'm doing podcast. All
right, Jeff. Yeah, well, Jeff, I want to ask you about that sparring session that Martin and Joseph just brought up with Chris Eubank Jr. How did that play out?
I mean, Joseph.
Breaking up.
Yeah, you're breaking up, Jeff.
He started and
all right,
I'm gonna text him and tell him that he's breaking up.
All right, perfect. Yeah. I think he's probably gonna try to reconnect because reception's bad. All right, while we wait for Jeff to get back, the next question I want to ask, Joseph, what would be the best piece of advice you would tell someone wanting to take boxing more seriously and make a career out of it as a pro?
I just tell them to, stick to it, and give it 100%. Don't take no shortcuts. Do everything the hard way. Don't take no easy way out. Just do everything the hard way. Give your 100%.
You know what? I actually never heard anyone say that. I do it the hard way. That's crazy. That's really good advice. I'm gonna take your advice. That's really good. I'm a media guy, but I like to once I'm recording and taking pictures, I'm like they ask me, why don't you step in? And I'm like, I don't think I'm made for it, but then you never know where that simple step could lead you to. So I'm like, yeah, but for now I'm just focusing on my job and pictures and all that. But maybe sometime, I just get a lot of piece of advice. But that what you said right now, what you mentioned, I've never heard that, but I appreciate it. I'm gonna take that in advice. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean it sounds simple, right? Just do it the hard way, but it's so powerful because once you start getting into those championship rounds, you start getting tested, things get difficult. If you've been doing it the hard way your entire career, you're gonna get up, you're gonna push through, you're gonna find yourself.
Absolutely.
So that's some powerful advice, Joseph. And we got Jeff back. Let me bring him back in. Hey Jeff, can you hear us?
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
They're breaking up.
I bring it up again. It must be the outdoors. You're breaking up, Jeff.
Breaking up, Jeff.
I think we're breaking up, Jeff.
Can you?
No, we heard like every other third word. It was choppy. Yeah, but it's all right, Jeff. We'll have to get you back to talking about these sparring sessions, man. It's sounding like some great stories here. Yeah. All right.
Maybe I'll get to a better spot. But yeah, man. Joseph's been training since he was 7 years old. I probably shouldn't give away my secrets, but he's been training 2 times a day, 6 days a week since he was 7. I don't think he's had more than a week off since he was that old. Even when we went to the Bahamas on vacation like 4 years ago, man, I had him swimming out on the beach, running on the sand. Then I took him a couple times to train with the DC Pratt, who's the Bahamian Muay Thai champion. So I still kept him active even while we were on vacation. People don't understand what it takes to be a champion. It's full-time commitment, man. And you got to watch, like, everything I buy him to eat since he was a baby. Everything's organic, natural. The best foods, the cleanest water. We juice our own vegetables and fruits. constantly keeping him in physio and deep tissue massage at least once or twice a week. Because he's a high level athlete and you have to keep him efficient. You have to do all these things. I got to make sure he sleeps between 10 and 12 hours a day. At the same time, he's a straight A student, been making the honor roll since the first grade. So we have to segment that time for him to do homework. And all these things wouldn't be possible if, God has really blessed us. I don't know if they're watching now. It's a gentleman by the name of Satinder. He's like a brother to me, British Columbia, and a great group of guys who have supported us for many, many years, especially in the last year or so. They've been really stepping it up to support us in all Joseph's trips, purchasing his equipment, making sure he gets to all those physio appointments. We can afford everything. They take care of me for all that I'm doing with him. And I just want to give them a huge shout out. They're a part of his life, a part of our future. They work doing the PR. They're co-managing with me, making a lot of the major decisions. So I just want to give them a big shout out. It takes a village, man. It takes a good team behind any athlete to make them great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, Marty, you gotta refresh my memory, but I remember a while back we were talking on Instagram. There was a boxing legend that went all the way just to see Joseph. Who was that?
Roy Jones.
Roy Jones, man. Can you guys tell us about that?
Do you wanna?
Yeah, Roy Jones. He came out to watch me fight in my last national championship that I won. I went to go train at his house. I think it was about a month earlier, or about three weeks earlier. I went to go train at his house and spar with a couple of his guys, and I got to just really build a close relationship with him. And he said that he would come out and come support me and come watch me fight. And it was so amazing. It was his dream come true because, like I mentioned before, Roy's been one of my favorites. Like since I started boxing, I've always been growing up watching Roy Jones, watching all of his fights. So for him to come out and watch me and support me like that was surreal. It was amazing.
Matter of fact, Roy called me the next day after Joseph went down and sparred with his guy. Like we talked for about an hour, man. He was very excited about Joseph. Obviously, he knows about all the great work Jeff's been doing. But he's like, Mark, man, this kid got in the ring and beat two of my best fighters, like back to back. And like, where you been hiding this kid? What you been doing with him? Whatever you're doing with him, man, keep it up. And Roy was so gracious in extending. He said, anytime you want to send him down here, he can come stay with me in my house. You ain't got to worry about nothing. I'll pick him up from the airport. I'll drop him off. Anything I can do in the future to help build this young man, I'm here for you guys. So,
wow,
very, very nice experience.
That's good.
That's great, man. Shout out to Roy Jones
You might
Jr.
want to ask Jeff that question again.
All right, Jeff. I think we got to get you in a good spot now. We want to go back to some of the sparring stories.
Okay, no. Basically, you got to ask me about Chris Eubanks.
Yeah, that's sparring with Joseph. How was that?
Well, it was some sparring. It was great sparring for Joseph.
Oh, we lost him. Yeah, we lost him.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go sometime to get back. But Joseph, how do you feel when you have because he's you guys know who Cass is? CASS Cass.
No.
All right, they just joined the link. We need to add Jeff back.
No. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
No worries, Jeff. All right, so you were telling us about the sparring with Chris Eubank.
Yeah, well, the sparring went well. I think Joseph was getting off a little bit too much on Chris, and his ego kind of kicked in, and he trying to go hard. And I was like thinking to myself that this is a 60-year-old kid, and but it is what it is. And Joseph handled it well.
That's good to hear. And then Jeff, I want to circle back to a question that I asked Joseph, and that was what would be the best piece of advice you would tell someone that wants to take boxing more seriously and pursue a career out of boxing?
Well, the one thing about boxing is a sport where very, very dedicated to your craft. If you're not very, very dedicated to boxing, leave it alone because it's not for you. Because I mean, it's you can die in the ring, and I mean, so boxing is, people don't realize things like that until it happens. And once it happens, next thing, what is the next thing that they want? They want to ban boxing. But it's just and I mean, the one thing about boxing is a choice. No one's drafted, into boxing. No one goes up on stage and get an award for saying I want to be a boxer. You as an individual, basically say, well, I think I got some talent, and say, well, this is something I want to do. I want to give it a try.
Yeah, great advice. And then a final question I got for you guys. It's not really a question. It's more so opening up the floor. What's the message you want to send to your fans and supporters? And we'll start with you, Joseph.
I just want to thank everyone that's been supporting me on my journey so far, and I'm gonna make a promise to everyone that I'm gonna do big things one day, real soon.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff. What do you want to let your fan supporters know?
Basically that I have quite a few good young fighters that I think people will be watching for the next 5 or 6 years, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being a part of all of these guys' journey. I want to be a part of it and see some champions made out of it.
Absolutely. Perfect. And everybody, make sure you mark your calendars. November of this year, we're going to see Joseph Brown make his pro debut. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be the start of something really special. And Joseph, Martin, and Jeff, I want to thank you guys for making the time. It was an honor to talk to each one of you and kind of get to know you, your stories and what you got to do in the boxing world.
Thank you so much. One thing I forgot to mention to you guys is that Jeff mentioned getting multiple titles in multiple divisions, so on and so forth. One of the dreams Joseph has is to actually, once he's established himself as a world champion in boxing, he's going to cross over and do the same in MMA and be the first one in the history of mixed martial arts to actually cross over from boxing and win multiple titles in both sports. Jeff has worked with many MMA fighters and kickboxers, so he already knows how the conversion goes. And to be honest, a lot of the work that Jeff does with Joseph is stuff he was doing with Dewey Cooper, who's a 2-time world champion in Muay Thai. So the team is amazing. Dewey Cooper is his MMA coach in the States. He works with Joe and Simon Marcus, 8-time world champion here in Canada. So we're really looking forward to making history. And man, I hope you guys will take the journey with us as we go along.
Of course.
100%. We'll definitely be part of the ride, and can't wait to see you make history, Joseph.
Yep.
All right, again, thank you guys so much time. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.